And so, and this next question that kind of alludes to that, you've already started to rewrite kind of the narrative around East Palo Alto, but when you think about brands, right? The story that the market tells about a brand is rarely the story that a brand will tell about itself. And I would imagine the same is true for East Palo Alto when you think historically speaking. The narrative around East Palo Alto is things that you don't want a city to be known for. So how do you, when you think about inheriting a narrative that you didn't create, how are you working to kind of rewrite that narrative? And it sounds like you kind of alluded to some of those things in the last question.
Yeah. We continue to support a lot of youth, to prevent them from going into uh or helping them break that cycle of poverty because, obviously wherever there's poverty, there's crime.
Hmm.
Um and really it's when you give people opportunities that to do right and to do good things,
Yeah.
they will do them.
Yeah.
Without opportunities, people do what they need to survive. So a lot of crimes are crimes of desperation, and when people are desperate and they're asking for opportunities and there's none there, then obviously crime will go up.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're just continuing to invest in our community, invest into our youth, invest into our adults, invest into people who've returned home from prison, because there's cycles that need to be broken, the school, the prison pipeline, and the replete cycles of poverty and the cycle of in prison, out of prison. Like, if you're not giving people opportunities, then they're just going to still stay in kind of the same situation.
Facts.
And so, um, breaking that cycle is really this through evidence. This past 2 years or past 3 years, we've only had maybe one homicide in East Palo Alto.
Nice.
And at one point, we were the murder capital. That's like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
We're the murder capital of the United States. And so we've made a lot of progress. That was about 20, 30 years ago. But it's really just been through economic development and redevelopment of our community. And a lot of those revenues actually have gone to support all these programs that we fund every year for our youth, and that is, it takes time. Like Rome, wasn't built in a day,
Yeah.
but it's the repeated cycle and it's the consistency. And if you keep working towards something, eventually you'll see that change. And that's kind of like what we're seeing. Obviously, East Palo Alto isn't the same community that it was. We were founded as a historically Black community. I'm one of the second Black founded cities in the state of California.
Wow.
Um, but, we're still a majority minority community.
Hmm.
A lot of people sold, left, and living out in Stockton and Sacramento went back to the South. But, it's still a diverse community compared to a lot of the surrounding cities here in the peninsula. But at the same time, you can't say like gentrification, is there, oh yeah, this people left. No, it's if we don't give these kids opportunities, then, there's still they're gonna hang out after school and start, smoking and shooting people and carrying guns and robbing people. And,
Yeah.
and so, it's really just been about a heavy focus on opportunities of keeping our youth busy in the community. That's why I'm in the position where I'm at, is because of all the programs that I was involved
Yep.
in
Yep.
in high school, like learning entrepreneurship. I was the entrepreneur of the year when I was 16
Nice.
by the National Foundation for Teaching Entrepreneurship. I was playing football as well.
Yeah.
I was on the robotics team. We were one of the top 3 teams in the country. So I was doing all these various
Yeah.
activities: entrepreneurship, tech, robotics, football. I was accepted into school. I got accepted into the University of Oregon and all these other schools, but I ended up going to San Jose State University. But it was really because of the foundation kind of in this community,
Yeah.
and a lot of the programs that were developed.
It's funny that you mentioned that because there's a couple of parallels that I took away from what you just said in terms of, it's interesting that on one hand the popular dialogue is around we need smaller government, but at the same time I also hear you saying that by government being, having an instrumental part in your life by providing these opportunities, that's what kept you out of trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's funny, like there's an ex-colleague of mine, Nick Durkin, who has this saying around governance when it comes to CI/CD and DevOps. Governance you make it easy to do the right things and hard to do the wrong things. So by having these programs, you're making it easy for kids to do the right things and hard to do the wrong things.
Yeah.
So without governance, without government intervention providing these programs, they're gonna be doing the wrong thing. So it's interesting, the parallels, the dialogue that we have, the popular dialogue around making government smaller. But it sounds like by having the right institutional programs in place, we're gonna actually provide those opportunities for our kids.